100 years ago, society had a very different set of rules and expectations when it came to what was considered socially acceptable behavior. From clothing choices to personal relationships, there were many things that were simply not done in polite company. Welcome to Be You, a channel dedicated to helping you be your most authentic self. Today's video is on discussing how our attitudes towards certain topics have evolved over time and how we can work towards creating a more accepting and inclusive society for future generations. So, if you're interested in learning more about this fascinating topic, sit back and enjoy the video. And don't forget to subscribe to our channel for more informative and inspiring content. So the question for today is, do you think that the world is changing for better? The way we live is changing rapidly. If we look at the last 100 years, we can see how technology has advanced, how communication has changed, how artificial intelligence is taking over so many areas of our lives, how we can travel long distances quickly, and how things that used to be considered luxurious are now available to everyone. This gives us the feeling that the world is changing quickly, and it really is true that our way of life has changed tremendously in the last century. But what about the basics? It is important to realize that there are 3 different generations living in the world on average. These are 3 generations that have completely different stories, backgrounds, experiences, and perspectives. If we look at the oldest generation, we can see that some were already struggling in childhood because they were left-handed. Some were born during a war. Because of different views of groups of people, there can be suffering for other groups that may not meet the standards. This is especially true when it comes to taboo topics. In certain parts of the world, women are still valued less than men. Now, each generation often finds it strange what the previous generation did or is doing. Today, it seems crazy to us that children who wrote with their left hand were forced and even beaten to write with their right hand. Of course, there are many more examples of how society has changed in the last century. These are just a few of them. One of the most notable changes is the evolution of attitudes towards gender roles. Women are now more accepted in traditionally male-dominated fields, paving the way for greater equality in the workplace. Another significant change is the growing diversity of family structures, with single-parent households and blended families becoming more accepted. This shift recognizes that families come in many different forms, and love and support are the most important factors in raising happy and healthy children. The understanding and acceptance of mental health issues have also improved, with greater resources and support available for those struggling with mental health challenges. This shift represents significant progress towards removing the stigma surrounding mental health and creating a more compassionate and supportive society. Attitudes towards marriage and divorce have shifted as well, with greater acceptance of divorce and cohabitation. This change recognizes that relationships can take many different forms and that individuals should have the freedom to make choices that work best for them. The role of women in society has expanded significantly, with greater opportunities for education and employment. Women are now able to pursue careers and achieve positions of power and influence, challenging traditional gender roles and contributing to greater gender equality. Overall, these changes in cultural norms have led to a more diverse, accepting, and compassionate society, where individuals are free to be themselves and pursue their own paths in life. Of course, we can say that we live in a cruel world, but certain things in history were much worse than they are today. Some were also better, or, in other words, different. We live exactly now, and we can ask ourselves how our current actions will affect future generations. I will never forget what a good friend of mine once told me. Children are the mirror of their parents' frustrations. And perhaps it is good to observe children a little more and learn something from them, to make it easier for us and for them. Years ago, the Dalai Lama said something important. When there was an attack in Paris and everyone was praying, he said that our prayers will not solve or help the situation. It is man who causes all these terrible things, and there is no devil doing them. Therefore, our actions are important, and only we have influence over how the world will develop in the coming years and generations. Until next time, don't forget, People aren't created to be perfect. We're created to find happiness and to make others happy.